Okay, let's call the meeting to order. Karen, you want to do a roll call?
Okay. Chairman Hoffman,
Here?
Commissioner Reedman,
Here.
and Commissioner Fiorito is out with previous notification.
Who else do we have? Do we have to?
And announce Deputy Clerk Schultheis.
Chief Bill Caponegro.
Okay. So the first rule of business is approval of the minutes for the November 30th, the December 15th, and the special December 15th.
Yeah, but
I'll make a motion.
an omnibus motion for all of them?
Yes,
Okay,
I'll second it.
okay. Commissioner Reedman
Aye.
and Chairman Hoffman.
Aye. That was pretty fast. Okay, so are we going to go into closed session?
No need.
No need for closed session, Karen. So
Okay.
return to opens, and new business is just an update on our comfort dog situation. Rocco?
Rocco is doing amazing. He's growing. He's, man, you can tell that he's learning. He's still a puppy, but he's acting more like a comfort dog. He's been tremendous. The two handlers doing a tremendous job, going to training twice a week. He's amazing. We got so lucky with the dog, so that's good.
Right, that's great, that's wonderful. Okay, do we have any other old business?
Officer Redlin, our part-timer is now full-timer. He's on a shift. He's doing great. We have a part-timer that we're hiring, who was a former wheeling officer for 5 years. He's a full-time fireman. He's a young, ambitious guy who wants to stay because he loved the police field, but his heart is the fire department. So he'll be able to do a little bit of policing on the weekends. We're lucky with that. We're still interviewing for the second position. Again, we take 2 steps forward, step back. Now, 2 steps, or 1 or 2 steps backwards. I said a couple weeks ago, we're right there, full duty. Well, 2 officers are hurt.
Okay.
One with the finger, one with the leg. But thank God, we were able to use them at City Hall. Officer Collins filled in, Karen, as you know, for 2 days.
Yes.
He was tremendous help for you guys.
He was incredible, actually.
Yeah.
He was a lot of, we've had, so we have vehicle stickers that people have late fees on, and the amount of people that came in, 6,000 letters went out, he's been incredible.
Great.
And then the 2 officers who are on light duty are going to do the data entry for all that, and tremendous burden lifted off the city staff here.
Sure.
So it worked out good. Safety Act, January 1.
Yeah,
That's all I need to say about
that's
that.
how I'm feeling, right?
Because we've attended a lot of Zoom meetings. We've asked Miguel and I have probably asked more questions than any other department. Because we're having a meeting with our guys. We're having a training.
Yes.
And so we want all the information. And here's what I've learned. January 1st is coming. They're not ready. It's not ready to be rolled out. Unfortunately, it's going to be rolled out. They don't have the right forms printed yet, so each department has to pay for their own forms.
Yes.
There's still a whole lot of gray area. Well, we can't advise you on that. It's department policy. No, the Safety Act. We had nothing to do with it. So it's going to be, everyone's on board by saying it's going to be a fun ride for a while, which anything new, there's glitches. We'll get there, but it's going to be a learning curve because all the information is not available. So we'll get there, but we're ready. We're ready. I mean,
It's all a work in progress.
it's a work in progress, And the good thing is, everyone else that I've spoken to has the same feeling. So it's not like, are we lagging behind? No,
No, this
we're
is all new.
we're right there with everybody. Everybody's like, oh, other counties, it's statewide, it's the same thing, like, oh my gosh.
Right.
We don't
I
have,
assume there's gonna be higher, probably electronic monitoring and GPS and those kind of things. Hey, Joe!
wow,
Guys start without me?
yes, we
We
did.
did, because we thought you weren't coming.
I was 50/50, so.
Okay. All right, so
sent
can
you
we
a
enter
text.
him?
I got it.
He's in the meeting at 4:05.
Joe will be
PM.
here in 3 minutes.
Right.
4:05.
Okay. All right, Joe, well, welcome aboard. We just approved the minutes of the previous meetings. We got an update on the Comfort Dog and.
It's doing great.
just doing a little discussion on the PFA that's coming, Pretrial Fairness Act, which is gonna make significant changes in arresting, of arrests
I don't know how you guys
and,
gonna do it.
monitoring.
We don't either. And so when we look for answers, because we're having training, we've put together bullet points for so our guys know what we've been
What's
hearing and
important.
what we've been learning, and so we want them to know, and there's some things that we don't know.
So who provides that? Is that required by the state?
So right
Just
now,
routine it
right
down,
now,
or-
there's a form that everybody, if you get a ticket, you get this form. If you get a Class B or Class C and release in the street, you get this form. Well, for now, we have to, we need carbon copies, so we have to create our own. They say for the first quarter. Well, wait a minute, this is state mandate, but you want us to create our forms? Okay, we'll do it, because you're not ready. Well, they've been talking about this for what, now, a year? But you're not ready. Oh, by the way, we start January 1, you guys have to get your own forms printed. Oh, and by the way, your answer to this, we don't know. Well, who knows? How do we find that out? Well, that's kind of what you get. Well, we can't advise you on that.
I think it's gonna be, we're gonna see as we go.
Oh, it is.
That's what it's gonna be.
It's gonna be a mess.
And we're just preparing for,
It's
What
good-
about the legal challenges of your form versus their form versus required forms?
Well, we have so it's fun. So there was a form and there was a number in the middle of the form. And so they said, use that number, but do not make them in succession. Just leave that one number, the one number for everybody. Okay, so we went and had our forms, they're in the process. Oh, by the way, you can have that number removed. No, it's too late. January 1's around the corner. Too late. And so other departments were having their printers do, it's like a 12-character number. And so they started with that number, and they went on to add another number and another number and another number, like, they didn't really listen to the directions, but this is where we're at. Okay, so I arrest you for trespassing the street. What am I giving you? What kind of
what's the
citation?
right?
Can't be a Y ticket, that's for traffic.
Right.
I'll be on vacation from January 1 to January 8th. Perfect timing for me, but I'll come back and I'll hear about the nightmares. But you know what? The thing is, nobody's gonna be like, why did you do this? Because it's happening,
Yeah.
it's gonna happen around the entire state.
Yeah.
And then so what we do is we'll learn, oh, you can't do that, so let's correct it. And nobody's gonna get slapped, but we'll get there, like any new system.
They're gonna be correcting it piece by piece, there's gonna be
Yeah, we'll be, right,
legislation going on,
Yes,
January,
this is
February,
going
March.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
it'll-
all gonna be.
And listen, thank God that they got rid of the 21-day rule where they have to be in front of a judge in 21 days. Tickets, misdemeanors, felonies. Do you know what that would have created as far as, do you think about it, Judge? You already
Yeah,
know.
well, I'm glad, I'm
Yeah.
happy not to be.
Well, they got rid of that, okay? But now, for every class 3 and above, they want the court appearance to be on a Wednesday or a Thursday. Why? Well, because our Mondays and Tuesdays are really jam-packed. So for our district, District
I mean,
3,
just for 109 and 110?
yeah, well,
And 108.
in 108, right.
Right.
The court dates have to be the following Wednesday or Thursday. I said, so I called or emailed the state's attorney, the second in charge. I said, but are we required to be there? Because I said, if so, the burden the financial burden on little towns like ours is gonna be outrageous.
Right.
You're talking about an officer who has to show up every one of these. He said, for now, you don't have to be there. Whew, thank God.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
but that's something that should have been in like black and white.
And down the road, they should set it up
A
with you
liaison.
for matters like that to appear on Zoom.
Yes.
They don't need to have you there.
No. So we're gonna get it figured out. You know, I became a chief at probably, like, someone told me that you became a chief at like a very critical time, you can be very busy, and I love being busy, so in one hand, it's a blessing, in one hand, it's a curse, because what me and Milo are, we're staying on top of it,
So what's like the morale of the department in general, like all departments in general? I mean, can't believe anybody's happy.
Nobody's happy. Nobody's happy. Because, so I asked, so here's a question, and you know, so criminal trespass. This is what for any class B or C, the state's attorney says, we would like them to be fingerprinted. This is from the street. So this is I'm gonna quote, unquote, ask them politely, could you come to the station so I can take your fingerprints? Ask them politely.
Yes.
What other way am I gonna ask them? If they refuse, they said, then follow up with, ask them politely, is there a time you can come before the court date so I can take your fingerprints? Who's gonna say yes to that?
Out of
So-
sight, out of mind.
So you're gonna be, and if they still don't, then when they go to court, the judge may require, okay, Mr. Jones, I'm ordering you to go to the Prospect Heights Police Station to submit your fingerprints for Class Bs and Class Cs. You see, like, why don't you just, did you think about that when you made that a law, that we
Why
can
don't
be
they have
released from the
Why
street?
don't they have the sheriff fingerprint right there?
They could,
Sure.
go right downstairs and fingerprint them. Those
You
sheriffs
need
are
to get 'em
so,
too.
they would go nuts.
I know they don't want to.
They don't want to.
Right.
But they can,
doesn't
there's a
it make
fingerprint machine
less
right there. Why
Than
did,
doing
why
a
did they
court order and
go
then.
right downstairs? Sheriff, they won't do that. That's just one little small part. So I say to them, I ask this is one of my questions because I need to tell my guys. Okay, if trespass, I have to cite them first, right? Like, hey, Joe, I need you to leave Rocky Vanders. They don't want you here.
Joe says no.
And Joe says, no. All right, Joe, smart
Guess
guy?
what now?
Smart guy, here.
You said
here,
no?
Take that, you have to appear in court, next week.
He
Okay,
can't cite you until.
okay, right, I have to cite you
Yes,
first,
correct.
and then I say, okay, Joe, you ready to go? This ticket,
Sure.
no, F you, officer. So I say, because the language, the earlier language is, I can't forcefully remove you,
Yes.
but after I've cited you, I can arrest you now.
And
But-
now.
But can I physically remove you? The state's attorney says, it's not our job to advise you that. You have to go with your policy.
Right.
What's your policy? No. I don't need a policy on forcefully remove. That's state law. Can I? Can I remove you? That was a legit question.
They want you to ask him twice.
Right,
Once,
politely ask him.
twice.
So what we're gonna do is if he's not going to be, we have to, for his safety and the safety of others.
Correct.
So the language is, you can cite them, but if you're gonna arrest them, you can arrest them if they are in danger to themselves, if they're obviously unfit mentally, or they're a danger to themselves or to the community,
Right.
right? To leave him in a bar would be silly, because
Yeah.
he's gonna get beat up, or he's drunk, that's why they want him out, I gotta
Obviously.
take him out.
Right.
So I will have to forcefully remove you.
Yes, yeah. If you don't,
Right.
just say, okay.
But here's what I say, rather than write you a ticket, how about I start with, hey, can you leave? And if he says no, why do I have to cite you first? Why don't I just arrest you? Why do I have to issue this ticket first? Think about that.
And what's gonna happen with the ticket?
Nothing.
Exactly.
Nothing. They're not gonna give out warrants for that. They don't even wanna give out warrants for misdemeanors any longer.
Right.
So basically, it's gonna, nothing.
We're gonna revert back to the old days.
Right.
And what the old days were, especially in
Which is
Chicago,
less
they
than
just
station
grab
adjustment.
everybody
Yeah.
and they would put them in the courtroom first thing in the morning over at Monroe and Racine or Grand and Central, wherever. They didn't even lock them up. they'd have everybody just sit there, they'd come in, and then every case would be dismissed.
Oh,
We're
yeah,
about to revert back to the way it was in the
That-
sixties.
that's what's gonna happen.
Mhm.
That's what's gonna happen.
So,
So, but needless to say, we'll have it figured out, we'll get there, but it's a nightmare. And, everybody in law enforcement is saying the same thing. I'm sure you've heard it too. They're all saying it.
And we're gonna have to deal with the people that are there on the weekends, which is gonna, if everyone's gonna require detention hearing, then it's gonna.
Right.
we're-
There's no more bond hearings, it's detention hearings.
Correct.
And
What's the difference?
the first guy that gets
Bond, there's no more
released,
bond.
There's no more
I
bond.
know that.
So for class 3 felonies above, where everything's the
Whether you
same,
stay
they
in or
take
you
you
go
to
out.
station,
Right.
they go to the judge now. It's not how much your bond is gonna be, it's whether or not you're gonna stay in custody, which most
The
people
state
will
has to
not.
prove, the
right.
defense is gonna say no.
Oh, and by the way, the judge can't look at your previous history
No.
of bond forfeiture warrants.
Right.
If Joe has skipped out on 10, he didn't show up for 10 of his arrests, he never showed up for court, and there was a warrant issued. That's not enough.
Right.
Because the language and the feeling is, well, maybe you couldn't miss work. We don't want you to lose your job. Maybe you forgot. You forgot.
Yeah.
So the state has to prove it's like willful, right?
Disregard, right.
Disregard.
Mhm.
How do you prove
Right,
that?
yeah.
The guy says, why weren't you in court? Yeah, my mom was on her deathbed, or I had to work that day, or I'd lose my job, and I'm not gonna feed my family. And they're gonna say, okay. This is where we're at.
you know how long that
And for
took?
anybody that's listening,
Yeah.
it's,
The first guy that walks out the door and commits some other major crime.
What's gonna happen?
already, before the Safety Act, 47 people who are on parole, have been let out, who are on electronic monitoring, have committed felonies, shootings, either homicide or have shot somebody. 47, that's just in 2022, and that's before the Safety Act.
Right. Yeah.
You think it's gonna get better?
It's gonna get
No, it's gonna get worse. But God help us all, I thank God that most people are very good citizens.
I do think, though, that there's gonna be changes in the legislation. I think there's.
It's gonna
be
have to
trailers.
change.
It's gonna happen, so I would just say, everybody just kind
Yeah.
of prepare for.
Yeah, it's gonna change.
See how it goes.
It'll
There's
get
gonna be the
more,
rise,
it'll
it's
get
gonna come
more
down. It's right.
in the middle,
Yes,
instead of just
right.
leaning one
It will,
way.
it will.
It's gonna have to,
Yeah.
for the benefit of everybody.
After your recommendation, I got my FOID card.
Good for you. How long did it take to get?
It was a few weeks. It was
Okay.
really quick.
That's it?
That's good.
Wow.
Because I know, like a year ago, people were waiting like months.
So I don't renew it. It says right in the paperwork, renewals will take longer than new.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't understand why, but I got it in 3 weeks maybe.
Oh, good for you. That's good.
Next is the CCL.
Yeah, do
Yeah, I
that.
got a place to go and go get you.
Yeah, good.
It's right here in the
Do that.
neighborhood, so.
Well, January 1 to 8th, I'll be in the Dominican, enjoying
Good
it.
for you, good
Enjoying
for
it.
you.
Yeah, I haven't been on a good vacation in a while.
Where in the
Yeah.
DR?
Punta Cana, about 18 miles south of Cancun, where it's not real touristy, right? And I was just reading it, a lot of the stars stay at this Hilton. 'Cause that's it.
Punta Cana?
Yeah,
Okay.
Stay away from Southwest.
yeah, we're flying
My daughter's
straight
trying to
United
get-
there.
Trying to get home from here, back to Florida.
My nephew lives in
Got a
Texas,
flight
can't
tomorrow.
get back.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So
Yeah.
she said flights for, like, on the other airlines, American, United,
Yeah,
are like
double the
$1,000,
yeah.
like 1,000.
Whoa.
For a
yeah.
$200 flight that, for her to go back from Southwest, so, we'll see. All right, well, do we have any public comment, Karen?
No one has registered.
Okay, then I guess we can make a motion to close the meeting. The next meeting's on the January 25th.
Make a motion?
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
All right, thank you.